In John's account of the first Holy Week, on Thursday evening before Jesus settles down to supper with his disciples, he takes off his outer garment, he wraps himself in a towel, he gets some water, and he washes his disciples' feet. It's not necessarily an unusual occurrence, it's not an unusual event. The roads were dirty, they were dusty, they were covered in muck and all kinds of things, and people wore sandals. They got dirty feet all the time, so they would go into a home and they would have their feet washed before they settled down for the evening. What was unusual was the fact that Jesus was the one who was doing it. This was the work of a servant or a slave, not the highest ranked person in the house. And Peter does what Peter does. Peter protests and says, "No, Lord, you shall never wash my feet." And Jesus says, "Unless you let me wash your feet, you won't have any part of me." And so then Peter goes completely the other way and says, "Okay, Lord, then wash all of me." And Jesus, in not so many words, says, "Don't be silly, Peter. You don't need to be completely washed. You just need to allow me to serve you." And it strikes me that the thing that we take away from this event is if Jesus can adopt the position of a servant and can take on the task that a servant or a slave would do, how much more should we serve our sisters and brothers in Christ? I love the Graham Kendrick song that says, "This is our God, the servant king. He calls us now to follow him and live our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant king." And the third verse of that song, it says, "So let us learn how to serve, and in our lives enthrone him." The way that we worship Jesus, or at least one of the ways that we worship Jesus, is we put ourselves last, we lower ourselves, and we serve one another.